I grew up on a farm outside of Wyoming, Illinois, which is about 64 miles from here. I am the third oldest of 15 siblings. And one of my aunts asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up. And I said, well, I'd like to be a priest. And she said, you would? And I said, yes. And so she never let me forget that. But the pastor also felt that I had a vocation. And plus there was 2 young men from Wyoming that I grew up knowing. They were played in all the sports and everything, were really just outstanding, warm, friendly guys. They greeted you every time they saw you. And they came up here to St. Bede and went on for the priesthood. And so I always looked up to them as I'd like to be like them. I was originally going to study for the diocese. And, but toward the end, I think I don't want to go out to one of those parishes and be by myself all the time. I grew up in a big family, and I've lived here in a big boarding school, and I don't know what it'd be like to live alone like that all the time. And so I got thinking more and more about joining the monastery. And I ended up then coming in asking if I could enter the novitiate. And finally we all got here. There were 4 of us. And the community had all gathered in the entrance to the monastery. And so when we came out of the parlor, there they were all there. And it was very emotional, very good experience. And you just felt like it was really a welcoming invitation to come in. My novice master once asked me how I was doing, what I thought, and I said, oh, I'm doing fine. I don't think I'll ever leave. And he said, I don't think you will either. And he said he worried about I was settling in maybe too quickly. But things went very well for me through the 4 years of college, or 4 years of theology. It was at the end of the 3rd year, I started wondering if I should go through with this. Because I said, it kept hitting me, there's so many people that have left. And they were all young, and a number of them I looked up to very much. And that sort of shook me at my foundation. And then my novice master left. Went to see the abbot, Abbot David Duncan at the time. And I'm wondering if I'm going to end up in the same situation as a number of the monks that have left here when I get to my 30s and 40s, questioning whether I belong here. And so he said, well, maybe you need to take a leave of absence then and think about this. And that was tough. I left and had a rough time trying to find a job, since I only had a degree in philosophy. Ended up in inhalation therapy training as a respiratory therapist for 2 years. And I enjoyed that work until there was, one of my patients was a 4-year-old boy with cystic fibrosis, poor little kid. And every time I went into his room, he was just so delighted to see me. And we'd have a wonderful conversation. I'd give him his breathing treatments. And one day I was walking down the hallway and a blue alert went on, and the number was his room number. And I rushed to his room, and sure enough, he was in a very critical state. And I went in because I needed the respiratory machine that I had, and I went in to get it hooked up, and the doctor looked at me and said, I think I better do that for you. And so he did, and it was so emotional for me. I just was in tears when I left. The little boy died. And I don't know if I can do this kind of work. This is too emotional for me. But during this time, this thought kept coming back to me that, should I go back to St. Bede? Is that where you belong? No, you tried that once, forget it. So I came up and spent a week in retreat and meetings with Father Claude Pfeiffer, then was the junior master. And at the end of the week, on Friday, I went in to see the abbot, Abbot David, and I said to him, that was a dirty trick. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, what did you think I was going to decide? You had me come up here on Holy Week. This is Good Friday. I want to come back. This is where I belong. This is home. And so from then on, I went back, arranged, was able to leave the job there then the 1st of June, and came back to St. Bede, and I've been back here since, and very, very satisfied with the decision I made. Being here with this community, they are family to me. They are my brothers. And when I would go out in ministry, people affirm me in that vocation too. You get the message that you're doing the right job. It's been a real benefit for others and for me. So this is pretty much where I belong.